and if we don't pass the exam, we'll be demoted or we'll be retrenched. And it's a continuing struggle. That is a challenge, but that's something that we're not going to balk on. We have a new person in charge of education now, and the marching orders that he has is that we're still going to subject teachers to quality assurance, because you cannot teach students in which 40 out of 50 students you teach fail in public examinations. That is your fault. It cannot be the fault of the students. If it's just 5 or 10 students who did not pass, you can plus or minus say, well, those are recalcitrant, difficult children who really have no future. But if you have 50 students and 45 of them fail, then there's something wrong with you. In any system in the world, you're going to be penalized for it. You're going to have a lot of explaining to do. And that's the point we make to our teachers, that it's in our overall best interest to do this. And I also go to school to teach. Only last week I was teaching English in a primary school, because I think the signaling is important for people to know that it's not just a governor who sits in his office and pontificates about these things, but actually quite passionate about leading by example. It is absolutely important for our people to see that happen, and you walk your talk.
So what's the place for the youth in all your program, especially in the area of employment? Because one of the biggest challenges in Nigeria today
it's
the
youth.
area of youth unemployment.
Absolutely.
What are you doing about that?
It's a big challenge. I mean, luckily coming into office, we were very clear that this is one issue to tackle. And we had a volunteer scheme for youth who have just come out of university and have nothing doing. We pay them a stipend to get involved in a whole range of activities: traffic management, environmental sanitation, teaching, paramedics, emergency services officials, and a whole range of stuff. They do that. And the idea of the scheme is that they go off the scheme when they get something much more permanent in the system. So we have about 5,000 youth undergoing that in the state. But we're about increasing that, because that then served as a model, together with a similar scheme in Osun State, for the World Bank to embrace what they call youth empowerment scheme. So there's a YESO program that the World Bank has bought into now, and they're going to be supporting us to recruit another 40,000 of such young people. But this time around, we're extending to those who have left high school too, not just university, because that way they can be involved in direct labor activities, construction work, and such similar activities.
Now, how do you respond to the challenge of transparency in all of this process? And and it's interesting that your state was the first to domesticate the Freedom of Information law. Is that just, part of your public program, or is it actually in the process of ensuring transparency? And so how are you ensuring transparency? How are people able to access information about public, processes, especially public finance? And how open are you to supporting this process of actually ensuring transparency within the system?
Well, for me, to understand my commitment to freedom of information, you have to understand where I come from. I was a civil society activist, and I was very much involved in the process leading to the Freedom of Information Law. I was involved with the media rights agenda. I was involved with the Civil Liberties Organization. I was part of the campaign, even as a director of the Open Society network, the George Soros Network group. I chaired the Africa subcommittee of the freedom of information, access to information campaign. So it was only natural that when I became governor, I was going to be one of those who would champion this cause and continue to push for it to become law at the federal level. And as soon as it did, I think it was barely 3 months after that, I sent our own version of the bill to the Ekiti State Legislature for approval, and they did. So we've had it since then. In fact, my current Attorney General was a very central player in that whole process leading to the enactment of the law. Is it just a fad or a fashion? No, I don't think so. I think for us, transparency enables better governance. And when the people take ownership of government, it's not just because you are compelling them to, it's because they believe that there is nothing they don't know about what is going on. And I'm in a state where people are very, very sensitive to what goes on around them, and if you don't provide the right information, they fill the vacuum with rumors that can be quite damaging. So it's ultimately in our own best interest to give information regularly, openly, and to clarify situations as they come. Questions will be asked. Mischief is always part of the game in politics. But once you have a regular mechanism for sharing information with your people, then it becomes easy. I mean, just last week, Ekiti was adjudged as having the best and the most accessible website by the Nigerian Governors Forum of all the states in the country. And that's basically because everything that happens, you will find it on that website. You find all the laws. You find what we're doing. What we don't have, if you ask the question, there's bound to be somebody who will respond to you. You can email me as governor, you can email all my commissioners, and they'll respond to it. And that, for me, is what governance is about. We're not doing people a favor. It's our duty. Because once you're in public office, you cannot now start complaining that people are prying into your private matters. You are no longer private. Public office is not a private space. And people have the right, even if they're doing it out of mischief, to ask questions. And that's my own attitude to it, and it's helped me.
So finally, Governor, so what you are saying in essence is that a citizen of Ekiti State can ask a question about our 2 point whatever billion this month. What specifically has the government done with it?
Absolutely.
And they'll get a response.
Absolutely. I even do a monthly account in the state on television and radio. I have a program every month where the citizens ask their own questions about anything under the sun on what I have done with their money. It's their money, it's not my money. And I will tell you, this is what has gone on salaries, this is what has gone on security, this is what has gone on healthcare. It's public knowledge. And that's why I always tell my political opponents that you don't even have to carry any rumor. Just ask and we'll give you the information. The onus is on you to believe what we're giving you or not giving you. But if you have doubts, the Federal Ministry of Finance also publishes what we get every month. So go to their website. They will tell you Ekiti State has received this in month A. You now take that figure, come to us and say, Ministry of Finance say you've gotten this. What did you do with it? It's rocket science. We provide you with the information.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor.
And that's why it's important for people to know that when you talk about governance, the notion that all you have is a basket case is a wrong notion. And I see a lot of academics in the West, they do that because the focus is almost always on the macro analysis, on Nigeria as a country, not on what is happening at the subnational level. And there's a lot going on at the subnational level that gets totally missing from the discourse that people are engaging out here. It's important for those of you who are privileged to be involved in these hallowed portals to also let people know that they should never let the perfect become the enemy of the good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Really. Thank you very, very much. Yeah.
So I hope it does the job for you.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. It's great. Okay, so I know you shot it on 2 cameras.
Let's go back to the avenue.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh, you can do that.
It's important if you're putting it to put UC Davis there so that I don't think I've taken it
That you won't get
I
sad.
don't want to lose that one.
I have your card. I'll make sure.
Oh, okay.
To make sure your own is transparent.
Yes.
So you won't get sad. IRS to say, well,